Hello guys, today I'm going to show you a quick 10-minute exercise for anyone who is considering starting Google Ads. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding on how Google Ads auction works, the math behind it, and raw estimates on performance profitability of your initial campaigns. Now, unlike Meta Ads, Google Ads requires a specific action from the user, or in other words, they need to search for something to see our ad. All of these similar searches added together represent an audience of people looking for a specific solution over a given period of time. And here's the best part. Google actually gives you data on this. How many of these searches happened, and on top of that, the cost per click, meaning when someone searches for your product and click on the ad, how much Google is going to charge you. And based on that, we can build a rough profit projection. This data is the foundation of our exercise. To access it, we'll need to go into our Google Ads account. If you don't have one yet, you'll need to create it. Then when you enter Google Ads, you need to go on the left side. We have these tools, keyword planner. For now, we're going to choose a product. This is an example product, no affiliation. And we're going to go into start with a website and paste the URL. And here we're going to tick use only this page. Now what we're seeing here is the chart showing search volume trends, and you can actually extend the date range, and it will show us the yearly search volume trend. From here we can spot seasonality patterns, and in other words, we can see how demand of our product is changing across specific months. So first of all, if you see a very tiny search volume or no volume at all, that's already a bad sign. It likely means Google Search Ads isn't the best platform for this product, at least not the search or shopping campaign types. But volume isn't actually what we're here for. What we want is the average cost per click. So we have here these two columns, top of page bid low range and top of page bid high range, which means that cost per click for specific queries can go as low as 0.68, but it also can be as high as $18. Okay, so how do we actually figure out what we'll be paying Google? To answer that, let's look at an actual search. I already ran one here. So we've got shopping placements and search placements. Search only has 3 slots. And as we can see, shopping has multiple slots. And if we click here, we see more and more product ads. Every time someone runs a search, an auction happens automatically behind the scenes. Since search only has 3 slots to fight over and shopping has many more, that naturally makes each individual shopping slot cheaper than search slot. Classic supply and demand, okay? In Keyword Planner, these high CPCs that we saw, they usually represent the search ads clicks. So when we are evaluating this data, we should take into account that when we're speaking about high CPC, then most likely it's going to happen in search ads. And when it comes to shopping ads, the CPC here it tends to be lower. In some cases it can be 50% less, though it varies a lot by niche, and in some cases it can be 3 to 4 times lower than search. And even though shopping is cheaper, it's also the priority placement for us. It's the first thing people see when they search, and the first thing they click if they're ready to buy, or they already in the bottom of the funnel. So search ads tend to catch people earlier in their discovery phase. Useful, but when starting, you want to go and show your ads to people who are ready to buy. You need to test your product. You need to get the advantage of the demand that is already existing. So our first attempt should be running ads in shopping. So back to our CPC equation, we know shopping tends to run about 50% cheaper than search. So here's what we do. We're taking the average of our search CPC range, which is in this case 0.68 and $4, and we're taking a number between them, and then we're applying a 50% shopping discount. So in this case, we will land at around 1.10, $1.20, and that would be our estimated cost per click. Now that we know our estimated cost per click, we can estimate that for 100 clicks, we're going to pay $120. Next, how many purchases we can expect from those 100 clicks. That depends on our conversion rate, the number of purchases divided by total website visitors. You can pull this from Shopify, from Google Analytics, from WooCommerce. If you don't know yours yet, you can use industry benchmarks, which varies from 1% to 5%, depending on the niche. But let's say in this case, we're working with a 2% conversion rate. So it means that from spending $120 and bringing 100 clicks, we would have two conversions. And in this case, our price is $120. So it means that our revenue will be $240, and plus the shipping charge, which can be, I don't know, $5. So for two of them, we'll get 10. So we spent $120, we made 250, but the gap of $130, it has nothing to do with the actual profit that we made, because every time that we sell a unit, we have fixed costs associated with it, which is cost of goods sold. And this is exactly why we are doing this exercise on one specific product, because the cost of goods can vary from product to product. So that's why here, when doing the search, we use only this page. So we are going to see only keywords related to one product type, so we can estimate the cost per click for a specific product, and then we can calculate that product profitability separately from other products or other collections. Okay. So from these 250, we also need to reduce the shipping fee, because it's also a cost to us. We are paying that fee to shipping provider. Then we also have payment processing, say 2-3% of revenue, so about $7.5. And let's assume that for delivering one product, we have a cost of goods of $50. For two products, it means that we had the revenue of 150. Then we had shipping costs, and we also need to reduce the transactional fee. So this is what we earned, and this is what we spent. Now our profit would be $12.5. So here, this is a spreadsheet. We created this to simplify the process. Now we can just fill in here the price of the product, the cost of goods sold, the shipping cost, the payment processing fee, yeah, here it should be 10, because we are charging, it should be 0 because we are charging the full fee in this example. But like, if you are charging $10 for shipping, but shipping costs you 5, then you need to add 5 here. So in our case, we assume that it's 10 charged and 10 costs. So we're going to type in a 0 here. Estimated conversion rate would be 2%, and our cost per click, it will be 1.2. So here our estimated cost per acquisition, it's $60, which is exactly what we calculated. So for $120, we got two purchases, two orders, which means our cost of acquisition would be $60. But total cost to fulfill one order, it will be $53.60, and our estimated profit per order will be $6.40. So this is it. And our break-even ROAS, it would be 1.81, which means if we can make a ROAS of 200, then we are going to be profitable on ads. Given that all of that purchases that we see in Google Ads are incremental, they don't include branded conversions, they don't include buyers who are going to buy from you anyway. So if you can make 1.81x ROAS in your ads, then you're good to scale. Now, here we also have a verdict, looks profitable at this estimated cost of acquisition, worth testing. So 1.85, it's a very reasonable ROAS considering the ad costs that we have today in Google Ads. And in general, if you see a low number, let's say our cost of goods is 75. So it shows that not profitable at this estimated cost of acquisition. What we have here is we need to understand if the issue is cost per click, if it's the conversion rate, or if it's our profit margin. Now, assuming your margin is healthy and your CPC is reasonably low, the lever to pull is conversion rate, your offer, your product page, your site experience. So imagine you're renting a store in a premium mall, but you're not investing in your staff, you're not investing in your physical locations design, and you're not trying to sell when interested people are visiting your store. So it should be a priority for you. You should understand what is the reason of low conversion rate and increase it. Now, if your margin is thin, the lever is either lowering your CPC, testing the different product with better margin, or increasing your average order value. With low profit margins, it's going to be very tough, especially in the world of advertising where costs are always increasing. If numbers come back even slightly positive, then you're good to go, because in reality, this is not the CPC that you're going to see in the account. This is an estimation which varies based on a lot of factors. Like I just don't want to speak about quality score now. It's a different topic. You might have high CPCs, you might have low CPCs. It also depends on how many advertisers will participate in the auction at that day, at that week, and how much search volume we can get from the platform. Okay, I'll leave the link to the spreadsheet in the description so you can go plug in your own numbers and play with them. And if your numbers come back healthy, your natural next step is connecting your products to Google Merchant Center so you can actually start running shopping ads. We've got a separate video walking through exactly that, so go check it out. If you want more of this kind of breakdown, stay tuned, more coming soon.